Here's your wrestling news for October 14th, 2020. And your headlines for today include why Andrade and Mickie James weren't drafted during 2020 WWE Draft. Charlotte Flair teases on-screen alliance with Andrade. Interesting matches booked for next week's Raw. Natalya gets tooth knocked out by Lacey Evans on Raw. Alberto Del Rio receives trial date for aggravated kidnapping and sexual assault charges. WWE files trademark for show that was canceled almost 30 years ago. Why Bray Wyatt's Wobbly Walrus Firefly Funhouse friend went away. Wade Barrett strongly reacts to Drew McIntyre challenge. Why WrestleMania Dream Match was canceled, and more. We're kicking off today with the 2020 WWE Draft, as many stars were chosen by Raw or SmackDown, but one notable free agent is Andrade. Despite being a former NXT and United States champion, El Idolo was not picked up by either brand, and according to Ringside News, there's a reason for this that won't be pleasing fans of his. A source within WWE is quoted to have said, "Vince McMahon doesn't give a shit about Andrade." A hard stance considering that the former champion has learned English to be able to cut promos in WWE. On this week's Raw, Angel Garza dispatched of Andrade with relative ease before El Idolo and Zelina Vega were taken care of by The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Whilst McMahon may not give a you-know-what about him, someone does, as PW Insider are reporting that Andrade is heading to Raw as well as the also undrafted Mickie James, though the company chose not to make things official yet. Time will tell whether Andrade does get something going for him on the red brand, but the fact that the boss doesn't care about him at all doesn't bode well for the former champion. One person who certainly does care about Andrade is his fiancée, Charlotte Flair, who's hinted at a return alongside her husband-to-be. When Andrade posted a thank you and gracias on Twitter, some fans speculated if this was the end of his career, though Flair clarified that he was thanking Zelina Vega, who it seems he'll no longer be working with. The Queen also added that with Vega gone, Andrade will need a new manager, and teased offering her services by her fiancé's side. Fans haven't seen the former women's champion in the ring since June, as a kayfabe injury allowed her the time off to deal with some overdue surgery. And with both herself and Andrade drafted to Monday Night Raw, it'll be interesting to see if this real-life power couple share the squared circle in the not-so-distant future. We don't know if Andrade or Flair will be on next week's season premiere of Raw, but we do know parts of what'll be a stacked card. In a match set up by Adam Pearce, Keith Lee will face Braun Strowman, who was drafted to the red brand, whilst Elias will give his return concert, albeit without any live fans present. Lana's shot at the Raw Women's Champion Asuka is also supposed to happen next week, and we'll see what else is in store for the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. Speaking of Raw, this week's show saw a dual-branded Battle Royal, and whilst Lana emerged the next challenger for Raw Women's Champion Asuka, it's Natalya who suffered the most during the match. On social media, Natalya revealed that she lost a tooth during the match, saying it happened thanks to a stiff punch by Lacey Evans, but reminded fans that she was the one who eliminated the sassy Southern Belle. Evans fired back, saying that the Canadian should be glad she was drafted to SmackDown since Evans was drafted to Raw during this year's pool. This isn't even the first time Natalya has lost teeth in the ring, as she also lost two of her front teeth at a live event in October 2016 against Alexa Bliss and Carmella. Hopefully, the Queen of Hearts will be able to keep the rest of her teeth intact and in mouth, even if she didn't get any sympathy from Lacey Evans. Alberto Del Rio news next, as the former WWE champion was indicted by a Texas grand jury, and we now know when he'll be in court. According to PW Insider, Del Rio's day in court is January 25, 2021, where he faces charges, the main one being aggravated kidnapping. If found guilty, Del Rio could face the rest of his life behind bars, and will continue to monitor the situation as new details become more available. We've got Trademark news next, as the WWE have filed a copyright for a blast from their past. On October 8th, the company filed a trademark for their current show, WWE Main Event, as well as Livewire, the name of a WWF show that ran from 1996 to 2001. Airing originally on the USA Network and later TNN, it's possible that this is just a formality, as WWE tries to own the names of anything they've produced, though it's also possible that this could be the start of a return for the show. We'll have to see if Livewire returns to screens in either 2020 or 2021, and whatever the case, only Vince McMahon's company will be using that name from now on. We're focusing on Gerald Briscoe next, who has a new show coming now that he's no longer with WWE, and it's promised some great stories. In a video promoting the show, Briscoe sat down with John Bradshaw Layfield and sees JBL tell the story of how he tried to get under Briscoe's skin. The story goes that Bradshaw, a true Texan, was traveling on the road when he saw the Oklahoma sign, and decided to urinate on the sign, as well as the Welcome to signs for where Briscoe is billed from and where he's actually born. Being spotted by the Iron Sheik on the road, Bradshaw told him of his plan to annoy Briscoe, with the Sheik replying, "Oh, excellent, Brad, you're such a good boy." Whilst this story is funny in itself, it quickly turned sour, as he taped photos of his distasteful deed all over Catering backstage, including a sign that read "Briscoe Family Reunion" hung over a toilet bowl. Gerald Briscoe wasn't the one who saw it first, as it was instead his older brother Jack Briscoe and Danny Hodge, and after the pair were done with Bradshaw, he apparently couldn't train for a week. This is just one of many stories that'll be part of Briscoe's new show, and it proves that you don't want to mess with the Briscoes or their home state, a lesson Bradshaw learned the hard way. AEW next, as Ivelisse had a huge match against NWA Women's Champion Thunder Rosa on Dynamite not too long ago, but things reportedly got heated during the match. According to reports, the match broke down into a shoot between the two, and Ivelisse addressed the controversy while speaking to Pro Wrestling Junkies, saying, "I kind of expected this question to come up at some point. I've made it a point to not respond to it since the whole thing came up. I won't comment much about it, but I will state obvious facts according to it. Whenever it comes to pro wrestling, I'm obviously the vet within the equation, so that pretty much should say a whole lot to anyone that knows anything about pro wrestling. They can put two and two together, and that me being the vet within the equation, and also with the fact that I don't take people trying to disrespect me. With those facts, it's kind of self-explanatory what happened, and anything that comes up along those lines." It certainly seems like Ivelisse isn't denying the reports that their match broke down into a shoot, and hopefully her and the reigning NWA Women's Champion will be able to avoid incidents like this in the future. Back to WWE next, as Bray Wyatt introduced Wobbly Walrus as the newest member of the Firefly Funhouse back in September, and though it was obviously a dig at Paul Heyman, it's been quite some time since we've seen Wyatt's tusked teammate. Within a week of his debut, Wobbly had his own official t-shirt, and though the last we saw of him had a "to be continued," it seems this story is done. It turns out that Jey Uso is the reason why we haven't seen Wobbly, as his feud with Reigns has been received so well that the WWE have changed their plans for a Roman Wyatt feud, even changing the Tribal Chief's Hell in a Cell opponent, making the Paul Heyman parody irrelevant. Now that Wyatt is on Raw, away from Heyman and Roman Reigns, there's little reason to bring back the Walrus, and we at Slatrock would like to send our best to Mr. Walrus in all his future endeavors. Now, we've already covered how WWE tries to trademark all that they have, but they don't always get their way. Recently, the company tried to file a ring name for Mia Yim, who is currently performing as Reckoning in Retribution, but were blocked by Yim herself. According to a recent filings report, Yim filed a trademark for the name herself on October 8th and did so outside of WWE. Her filing also included proof that she's been using the name as far back as 2009, and it's also been reported that though WWE have a trademark on Mia Yim, the US Patent and Trademark Office will cancel it later this year. WWE has until December 11th to send proof that Yim signed off on the company registering her name, and it's interesting that the Retribution member has just now filed a trademark for the name that she stopped using just a few weeks ago. Over to NXT next, as Wade Barrett has continued his war of words with WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, teasing a return to the ring for the former Intercontinental Champion. On Twitter, Barrett shared some of the history between the two, claiming that he'd kicked the hell out of McIntyre when they were younger, and in some bizarre prank, poured cans of beans over the future world champion. Barrett added that as a grown man, he knows he can destroy and batter him anytime he chooses to do so, Whilst the former Nexus leader seems pretty comfortable at the moment behind the NXT commentary table, Barrett remains in phenomenal shape at 40 years old. And if he and Drew continue their war of words, then it may not be too much longer before fans see the two lock horns in the ring. More from the 2020 WWE Draft, as Aleister Black was moved to SmackDown and has already set his eyes on the Blue Brand's Tribal Chief. Whilst the Dutchman would love to be the next Universal Champion, Black has had very positive things to say about Roman when speaking to Sports Illustrated, saying that this run is the best work Reigns has ever done. He added, "Everything's presented in a way that is super organic. It makes you think he's not even playing a character. To be honest, I don't think he's playing a character. I think this is playing to every strength of Roman Reigns, of which there are a lot." After years of mixed reviews from fans, Roman's heel turn has earned his universal praise, and time will tell if Black, or anyone, can part him with his coveted Universal title. Now, Eddie Guerrero would have turned 53 last week if not for his tragically young passing at 38, and now we know more about what would have happened had he not died in November 2005. During Something to Wrestle With, Bruce Pritchard said that Eddie was slated to face Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 22 in April 2006, playing on the fact that the two had never faced off in what'd surely be a dream match. Instead, fans saw Michaels face Mr. McMahon in a no-holds-barred match at the grandest stage of them all, and interestingly, their feud started in December 2005, mere weeks after Guerrero's death. It certainly seems likely that the Michaels-McMahon feud was quickly put together to replace whatever Shawn and Guerrero would have done together, and whilst we never saw this dream match, it's clear that Guerrero's legacy, which was emulated by Ricochet on this week's Raw, continues to live on. And we're ending today with a blast from the past as we're discussing the WrestleMania 8 match between Jake Roberts and The Undertaker, which saw the Phenom go 2-0 in his streak. One person who was at the Hoosier Dome that night was Bret Hart, who's had some harsh words for the Snake Man, claiming that Roberts deliberately tried to sabotage the match. In his series, Confession of a Hitman, Bret said that the finish, which took place on the floor outside the ring, only happened because Roberts called an audible mid-match, and was done deliberately to mess with the dead man, who had only been on TV for under 2 years. That being said, Hart argues that Robert got himself deliberately counted out to avoid taking the pin, which isn't true as Undertaker pinned him to go 2-0. But with 27 matches at Mania for the dead man, it's clear that this isn't a favorite of the excellence of execution.